Gang. All right. Back another video. Just came back from the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie premiere. And I just had to do a video on it. I mean, I want to do it as quickly as possible so I can still remember the best moments that I had out of it. And hopefully I get to give y'all a little bit of the phantasm, orgasm that I got from it. Because let me tell you right now, this might be a movie of the year candidate. I'm not talking animation. I'm not talking about anime. I'm talking about just period in terms of movies this year. It was that good. It seems to me a lot of people that were in the theater, and I'm talking about the scene in the theater soon. A lot of people in the theater weren't like Dragon Ball purists like me. Not tooting my own horn, but hey, uh, but they still loved just about a lot of the niche things that still went over well. That's what makes a great movie and not just a niche movie is could anybody watch it and enjoy it? But I'm just gonna break down a few of the factors, in my opinion, that made this such a good movie. And here's a preamble. This sheet right here, I may give an actual like HD version of it in the description. But this came with it when you bought the tickets. Tickets cost $13, so I wish they gave me like a whole ass shirt. But it's pretty good more memory. And the theater scene, I think that's the most important thing with any debut movie is how good is that opening day crowd going to be. And I came about 20 minutes in, or 20 minutes before, and it was already like halfway full. As people started piling in, there's a lot of like infomercials and like commercials, and it was like 7:20 before the movie actually started. But about around 7-ish, which is when the movie is supposed to start, it was pretty much a full house for the most part. People were sitting in the fronts, which you usually rarely see unless it's pretty hype experience. And speaking to the diversity of the crowd, because a lot of people, would see anime movies and think, okay, well, that's going to be a bunch of like, white nerds and all that. But no, this was a pretty diverse crowd. I would say there was almost as many black people as there were white people. There were, of course, a lot of Asians, and there were a couple of Hispanics, which, if you live in the area I live in, there's not many Hispanics. So it was a pretty full house, and it was a good house. A lot of people were there wearing, something like this, Azumi's Dragon Ball tee, something they made a guy from Walmart, or like kind of more higher end, like Teespring type of designs. A lot of people are core fans, and a lot of people were kind of like coming with some of their maybe older family members that used to be core fans, because there's a lot of older people, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds that, you know, living through their youth. But here are the actual factors here. I broke down to five pretty quick checkpoints in my opinion. So first thing, the cinematography slash design. This is going to be the one thing I think is going to hit a lot of people immediately, because when you were watching or reading the leaks or details and look at some of the images that were coming up before the movie actually came out, one thing that caught people immediately was I want to say lightness of the design. It was the palette was a little bit more colorful, a little bit more diverse, and not as intensive on darks with the character colors, so to speak. Goku wasn't as tan as he typically is. Uh, Broly's base form wasn't that tan. Beerus was lighter. A lot of colors were generally brighter. It was more airy. The anime. I don't know what anime to compare it to as far as like the stylization, because it was unique. I know it's within the typical studio that works on those on Dragon Ball before. I forgot the I would say Toei, but I know it's not the actual like animation studio. But whoever they had designing this did a pretty A1 job. The environmental design was, oh yeah, the one thing I forgot to mention, the body styles was a lot more dense, like buff, which a lot of people shitted on super early for that. And I felt it kind of maybe did that to reach because they knew they were gonna be a lot of older Dragon Ball Z fans there, and maybe that was for them, so they wouldn't be like as off put as it. It wasn't like super Trunks like beefness, but it wasn't as light as it used to be, in some super moments. But anyway, environmental design, the art stylization was fantastic. You had something that grabbed a lot of people's viewpoint immediately was the dimension which they. By the way, it's gonna be spoilers here. When Gogeta, Blue, and Broly are fighting, they when they power up all the way, I believe they were still like base form. It was base form Vegeta against like no Super Saiyan Vegeta against Super Saiyan Trunks or Super Saiyan Broly. We're gonna one take this by the way. Super Saiyan Broly. When they both are powering up to their final forms, full power Super Saiyan or Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, and then Gogeta Blue, they clash and they break into like a dimension scene. And the funniest thing about this is that Gogeta like actually breaks the fourth wall and like references like the breaking into a different dimension, which I guess makes it like actually like stabilize, establish that they went into a different dimension. Um, that was beautiful. It reminded me a lot of Hit's time skip, but way more elegant and designed. They had the lava dimension, which is it wasn't actually dimension. They like went under the earth like into like the molten crust and started fighting, reminiscent of the Beerus versus Goku scene in Battle of Gods. Uh, Again, it was done better, more defined. Of course, more. I want to say more like pixels they're working with. Like this is a big screen experience right here, and they went all the way out with it, and it just looked better. The ice dimension worked very well. It wasn't anything too flashy with it, but it looked like a good battle arena for these battles to take place while they did, because, as I'm about to say, they went to the transition between them very frequently. I would say the first battle transition I can think of was when they go under the ocean floor, I guess the ice floor. I guess they heat up like the attacks are so fiery between I believe it's Goku and Broly at this point, that they just explode the whole place. Like Broly powering up explodes the whole place, and it becomes like a lava like wasteland type of thing. Because they're already like it's already crumbling earlier between just Vegeta and Broly, and when Goku and Broly fight, that's when it starts like pushing over. Kind of like Namek, but like there's not a death ball to the ground explosion type of thing. It's just natural. And yeah, just like moments where like you're seeing them flying around, and sometimes maybe in the anime it'd like be like cutaway, like it just be like those moments where they have like black lines just fighting and they're so fast you can't even see. The movement between fights is actually like visible. I don't think I had too many moments where I just couldn't see what was on the screen or couldn't make up what was on the screen. They even had one point where it was like a POV shot. Broly's POV and Vegeta's like fighting him, and I couldn't tell at first that's what it was, but then like the attacks were like, starting to land, like the key blast from Vegeta's land on Broly, and then they cut off the POV back into like third person, and that was incredible. Hats off to whoever designed that, and I guess I just close it with this. Some of the best fighting moments in any anime I've ever seen, ever. There's not too many big budget anime movies with like animation studios going out their way like this to make sure they're just capturing the audience. But even from like your most heralded animes, like let's say who would I compare it to? One Piece Man, of course. Uh, Black Clover, Seven Deadly Sins, Attack on Titan, which has beautiful animation always. I've never seen anything compared to this in any kind of even the best most Dragon Ball Super, like Goku going all out UI against Kefla, the Jiren versus Goku. There's no moment that's comparable to some like the highs of this. If you're talking like the Gogeta Blue Stardust Fall against Broly, Broly losing his shit and doing the mouth blast. Uh, Vegeta transforming. Any transformation scenes really in this scene were incredible. Uh, Cinematography, 10 out of 10. It couldn't be any better. All right, second checkpoint. The score. Now, if you've used Twitter, you've probably heard the "Go Jeeta, Go Jeeta" or the "Go Broly, Come on Broly" type of thing. Um, and that moment, even as good as it may sound when you're like listening to it in the anime or in a movie, it supersedes that by country miles. It's jaw dropping. I mean, like it's literally you sit there and you pay attention to scores. Not a lot of people pay attention to scores. You could sit there and pay attention to the score when that came on. Other than that, the it's more like background for the most part, but it was like it was really it fit the mood in any other scene. Uh, when you have Paragus about to get Broly sent away by King Vegeta, the tension is there. When King Vegeta first meets Frieza, the tension is there. When you have them just chatting it up, and the private island, Goku, Vegeta, Beerus, Whis, Um, it's really happy. It's really like major key. I don't want to say Disney type of thing, but it's really upbeat, uplifting. Let's see, what else is momentous? Oh yeah, when the Death Ball is about to come down on Planet Vegeta, the scene isn't as, let's say, long lasting as it is in the original Bardock slash Broly like background, but it's still impactful in the few moments it's there. I'd say the score is pretty much like a lot of people like love Bruce Faulkner, right? I would say this is like two times as good as any Bruce Faulkner moment or Bruce Faulkner's contributions to Dragon Ball Z. It's pretty damn good. Uh, 10 out of 10, I'd say. The crowd pleasers, just roll through this real quick. I'm not gonna get too much depth into this because I don't want to like ruin them. You know, I can go without spoiling them, but I don't want to ruin them even when I do spoil them. Super Saiyan Vegeta, when that happens, you kind of get like they use Ki very well in this movie. I didn't mention that in the cinematography slash design. The Ki is used very well in this movie and to guide you until when transformation is about to come. When they lead into Vegeta, it's fantastic. They use key auras weirdly in this movie. Like they use green for Goku and Vegeta as well as they use it to like Broly, but they use it for Goku and Vegeta to lead into blue or even into Super Saiyan God. And them switching like the color palettes they used for those were really amazing. For Vegeta specifically, it was well done. And for UI for Goku, when he's about to go from God into blue, I think he at first so he's Super Saiyan God, and then he uses like the Super Saiyan aura around him, like like so, and he's transforming yellow. I know he's about to go blue because I already know like how the for the most part I know like most of the movie fights are about to go. Um, and he's going yellow, and he goes from yellow to I believe it was green, and like he's like kind of convalescing between uh coalescing between like colors, and we like see purple, and then we see like the UI Goku aura, and yo, when I tell you like for like that, it's about 3 or 4 seconds. But for that 3 or 4 seconds, when that's happening, the theater was legitimately about to explode, man. The theater is very well engaged the entire movie throughout all the crowd pleasers. But this one was probably the biggest one because a lot of people haven't seen. A lot of people seen UI Goku, but like a lot of people don't watch, sub, right? I mean, that's obvious. So they haven't gotten to see it like that much. They just kind of saw it, like maybe in passing or something like that. So this is about to be like HD, I guess 4K. I don't know what movies are put into as far as resolution, but let's say 4K, full out UI Goku. And for a second, like the hair kind of flashes white. I think yeah, the hair kind of flashed white a little bit. It felt like no, it wasn't white. It was like it may have been white. I want to say he went UI Goku and then MUI Goku, the Master Super Saiyan White form, for a second. The eyes kind of like flashed a little bit, and the aura kind of flashed around. They had like the particles, the God Key particles, and that will all happen for just like a couple of seconds. But it may have been the peak of the movie as far as crowd engagement. And then it flashed away, and then everybody's like, "Ah, fuck." Then with Super Saiyan Blue, Super Saiyan Blue was done well, but after that, you got to go all the way. Uh, my third pleaser for me. Just this is all my purposes, by the way. When Broly and Goku are fighting, an aforementioned, and they clash and they go down beneath the mantle, that got a lot of people like, whoa. That's when like their fight, Goku and Broly's fight was like went from here to like here. Which, by the way, that fight is one of the most more well done emotionally in the series. Period, because you have a lot of anguish. You get to get a good grasp on like just how far out Broly's become. When they're fighting like Broly just a god Goku, but when like with the blue Goku, it really like that's when like the animation also takes a step up. Not to say that it wasn't already at Cloud 9. It went from Cloud 9 to like, are we on 10 yet? Um, Number four, Piccolo's involvement. Hey, there's very few fights in this that's not Goku Broly, Vegeta Broly. I wouldn't even count Frieza and Broly as a fight. They gave a teaser for it on the Twitter back when, and even did a trailer on YouTube, but it's not a fight. I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't mean to spoil it, but it's not a fight. Uh, so when we got Piccolo, that was interesting to me because I think there was in the trailer. I think there's like a scene where Piccolo was there, but also there's a scene where Gohan was there, and Gohan. Spoiler: Gohan isn't in this movie at all in any capacity. So I was interested to see that Piccolo's even in it, and he kind of serves like the people always compare like Morgan Freeman. He kind of serves like the narrator role for a little bit, and he's the impasse for the Goku. He like teaches Goku and Vegeta like, hey, do the fusion dance like with Ghost and Trunks, which I didn't even put that two together. That he did that for them, and they were obviously going to become Goku Gogeta at some point. I don't think he's there for that. I think he's going to be there to talk to Goku and like give him like a pep talk. But yeah, he does that, and obviously the crowd loves Piccolo. Everybody loves Piccolo. He's a top three character as far as love in the entire series. My fifth and final one, and it hurts me to say this because I know like people might see this movie and might see this, you might see my video and might even see I'm gonna label it spoilers and still be like, you're gonna get away the best moments if you're still watching at this point, but I hope you are. But this is easily the most, I guess, this is the best way it could have ended considering everything that happens before it. So Goku goes back to the planet Vampus, I think it's called. And she talks to Broly, they're chatting it up, and he's about to leave. And then, uh, side note, the girl that was flirting with Broly, she was coming on to Goku pretty damn hard. I'm just all I'm gonna say. I feel like Broly might even feel like type of way. Like they like, hey, you know, you got to come with a when you come to the dance with somebody, you got to leave the dance with somebody. And she was flirting pretty hard, but that's a discussion for another day. Uh, he's about to leave, and then he says these lines or this line to Broly, uh, or the crowd there. Period, not just Broly. He says to them, "You guys can call me Goku." She asked him his name. "You guys can call me Goku, but Broly, you can call me Kakarot." And that was a perfect ending to the movie, pretty much that you could have ever had. Because if you've watched the original, just hearing Kakarot made Broly become Broly. That's really what broke him was like Goku was crying, and then the Kakarot that broke him. And that was a great ending. And my fourth checkpoint, I'm trying to run through this real quick. It's a pretty short one. I don't want to ruin any of the jokes because that you really need to hear these jokes executed because I can possibly say them as well as they're using the movie. But the dialogue slash humor is impeccable. Um, it starts off pretty comical, I think, like pretty much uplifting the whole way through. Um, which I mean, it's a uplifting movie. Like it's not like a series. Like there's not a real villain in this movie, I guess per se. It's pretty much like if you took the stakes away from Tournament of Power and just made that like a movie, it'd be similar to that. It's funny, there's tension, there's legit worry about what could happen next, but at the same time, that it needs to be what it is. But the humor, like always, is there. It reminds me a lot of the Infinity War Part 1 first half, where like it's a lot of jokes, but it's not as overbearing as that. and it's done better than that. You get the jokes where you need to get the jokes, and they're all done pretty well. Which with anime, very often the jokes don't always stick. I can't think of any scene to me where the jokes didn't stick at. So that's just me maybe. I'd give crowd pleasers a 10 out of 10, and I'd give dialogue slash humor probably a 10 out of 10. I give maybe a 9 out of 10 because sometimes I feel like Freeze was a little bit too jovial, and I don't know, it kind of didn't fit. Like I don't know, it didn't feel like didn't feel like Freeze needed to be that happy. I know he became like a pretty, I guess, relaxed guy after the Tournament of Power and during as well, but I don't know. You can't. They made like there'd be like one side where they make Freeze like the ultimate villain and the worst guy in the world, and the other side they'd be like, oh, he's just another man in the crew. He's just being a dick. So like it's kind of like I don't know. I give 9 out of 10 for just that alone. And my fifth, and I feel like maybe the biggest checkpoint if you are a Dragon Ball fan, the Dragon Ball purist side of things. Listen, I'm 19 years old, going on 20. I've watched Dragon Ball literally as long as I can possibly remember. Played all the games that are worthwhile to play. I'm a Dragon Ball purist, and I can honestly say that if you've watched Dragon Ball for most of your life, and you were expecting like the best experience you possibly could have gotten from a Dragon Ball movie or just a Dragon Ball production, I think this is the best I've ever seen Dragon Ball. And if you look online, you'll see it's pretty much the same. It's the peak of the franchise and all the other four categories I mentioned. And it's I had to dab on it real quick, It's honestly as good as it's gonna get as far as animation, dialogue, jokes, uh, relationships, maybe. I mean, obviously you get more exposition out of an anime, full length series, but I think it's the best concoction for a movie you could ever hope for if you're a Dragon Ball fan. A lot of people, their peaks would be like Fusion Reborn or the original Broly movie or maybe even Battle of Gods. But this traipses upon all those other mentioned options. This is by far the best. I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10. If you're thinking about when to see this, I think at night audience is the best. And a lot of people might try to avoid the kid filled time slots, which I can see why, but I think you need to see this in a full theater to really enjoy this. And I mean, you get this. This this should be good enough to tell you they came correct with this movie. Watch it, pay the money. I would even say get the popcorn and drink because I felt like there was times where I actually wanted to like the stereotype, just eat popcorn, like just chug that shit because of how god tier the pace was and how it made me accelerate my body. Like my body was shaking at points. I was engaged the whole time, running off for like 5 hours of sleep. I never even like I yawned once off of 5 hours of sleep. I was dead tired before I came in. I came in. I didn't feel it's 30 degrees outside. I didn't feel any cold. I didn't feel anything except the heat of this movie. Go watch it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to discuss a movie in the comments with me, please do. I loved it. See you. Peace.